Hello everybody, my name is Aaron Terramons, and today we're going to be checking out a figure that's produced by Alice Glint, manufactured by 1000, from the Azur Lane franchise. This is Roon Muse. She's a 1/6 scaled figure, though I kind of have my reservations. Personally, comparing her to other 1/6 figures that I have, I'd say she's more of like a 1/7.5. Azur Lane is one of my favorite franchises, and I absolutely love their whole Idol series. I think it's really cute. I love the friffly fruffles. I love the friffly kerfuffled. I love the friffly fluffle kerfuffled dresses that are all flowy. And Roon is a character I quite adore in the series, but I'll talk more about this at the end of the review. If you'd like to see the unboxing for this figure, be sure to check out the link in my description below. This base... It's an extremely thick chunk of transparent acrylic that has a vinyl checkered sticker over the top of it, and that's it. I guess it's better than a boring, nothing, black, simplistic base. But on the prototype pictures of this figure, it was so cool. It was a lot thicker, it had that iron blood type of sectioning off of metals going around it, the beautiful shark boat monster head at the end. The fact that they cut all that out and gave us this, I can only imagine is because they wanted to save a bit on costs and lower the costs of the figure. I would pay 3,000 extra yen for a super nice base. I personally think that a very nice base can absolutely elevate a figure to a level of absolute beauty. That being said, this base isn't terrible, it's just not amazing, and it's depressing when you know what you could have got. I'm sorry for ruining that for some of you that didn't know, but honestly, I like to kind of go over everything with a figure, and this is a big one for me. They want to give you that effect that she's on a bit of her tippy toes, so we get these thick chunks of transparent plastic with double metallic pegs, so she is so solid into this thing. That's greatly appreciated because she is leaning over quite a bit. However, her feet are ever so slightly off the ground that Roon would make me beg to ask, what's the point in the first place? You could have just had them completely bolted straight down and had her leaning over. The tippy toes is... I feel like it's so minute, it doesn't really matter. She doesn't wobble whatsoever, but her microphone certainly does, so you definitely have to be careful of that. I had her on top of my computer for the past week, and just the fans from my computer were slowly edging this thing off, easily broken it, so something to watch out for. It would suck to break this thing. Her boots look chonky. They have really thick soles to them. We get some nice sectioning off and different types of textures here. A black metallic sheen along the base of the boot where the top part has a bit more of a gray to it. We have this lovely little triangle design at the bottom here. I can only imagine that glows in the anime or in the illustration. Where she then has these lovely shin guards to protect herself when, I guess, giving ninja kicks to people. I would have liked to see straps along the back of this. I think straps fit the character very well. As for her very high thigh highs, we have some lovely shading around her foot and the boot. As it goes up into the back of her knees where there's more shading, I think it might be a little too pronounced and dark here, but it's not terrible, and from a shelf it's going to be enjoyably noticeable. We don't get any highlights on these, it's really just shading and darker gradients. Underneath her knee we have these little cute triangles, and on her left leg we have this fun little music level thing. I don't really remember what that's called, so if you happen to know, please write so in the comments section down below. I'd actually like to know. These very high thigh highs go almost up to her waist, to where you start to wonder, why didn't they just go all the way up? Oh right, because this is Azur Lane, and they love their spice. Here's where we get to her skin. I'd say that the sculpt is extremely well done here. For something you're not necessarily going to notice unless you put a mirror behind her. Maybe this base plate should have been mirror reflective. That would have been really cool and fitting for this kind of character. The skin has a bit of shading here and there, but it's nothing incredible. However, it is done well. Her underpants look like a dark crimson. For a second, I thought it was the same color as her stockings. It is not. The sculpt work on this is extremely well done. She's then wearing a short pleated skirt. I believe it's pleated. It seems like it's supposed to be. There's a couple cutoffs where we get some of the purple that are here and there. It's not super well done underneath and behind, but you really don't see it that much. And on the front, it's pretty decent. Afterwards, she has this whole floofy dress poof going on along the back. It's dynamic, it has a lot of energy, the sculpt is really nice on it, and I love the layering, the shading is very beautiful. And just to mention the sculpt work once more, it's very sharp and has a real feeling of an illustration. Underneath this poofy dress and the layered smaller poofier dresses, they have this lovely lighter lilac purple kind of color. This color really accentuates the layers very well, and the added color is a welcome break from the monotony of the constant use of the same type of black and gray. An excellent touch. This big poof floof dress opens up along the front, And on the left side, we have this lovely ribbon, and it's just so Iron Blood. I'm a little disappointed that the dark ribbon is the exact same shade as her dress because it's not that noticeable. It kind of blends in and disappears with everything. This should have been in gloss or something that makes it feel like it's a satin reflective material. The lovely red band that we get going across the middle is nice. Perhaps if they put a red outline along the whole thing, it would have popped out a little more. And on top of that, we have all these little strings and ropes from another ribbon that's a dark purple that's going underneath a metallic-looking Iron Blood cross that has a silver metallic color on the inside of it. She's wearing a lovely corset that is open on the back, which makes you wonder how this corset would work at all. It doesn't matter because this is Azur Lane magic and her back looks beautiful. The front of the corset looks layered, almost like she has a shirt on underneath with buttons, where we then get into the rope and a couple of kerfuffles. The ropes should have absolutely been done in a gloss here, or anything ever to really stick out. As it is, it's actually molded with the rest of the front of her, so there's nothing popping out here. It's really all just one piece. Despite saying this, it's still very well sculpted, but it should have been in gloss, maybe in red, anything to make it stick out just a bit. Thousand, what are you doing? You are missing so many textures here. Yet you do have a few, like the golden band that goes along the outside of her corset where we got this little square. I guess that's the clip. Maybe you should have sculpted on an actual belt clip or something there. And then you branch out with these two tail-like pieces that, for once, thank you for bringing a change in texture here. Done with the pearlized, dark, crimson-y, warmer brown. The flow and fold that we get on these things are really nice, carved-in line going all across it. This little belt seems to be clipping in around where that bow is, where we then get the remaining long piece coming out and becoming larger down near the bottom. Pops out so well, and it does have a lovely flow to it. The gray fabric along the side of her shirt is very well sculpted. Beautiful stretches in the fabric here from the back as we go along the side, and we get a couple of stretches in the fabric near the arm, where we then get this cutout focal point. The gray shirt that she has underneath here has some nice line work, minor shading here and there, and beautiful stretches in the fabric as well along the front. And as Marin Kitagawa would say from My Dress Up Darling,
"This is the best boob bag here."
It's the focal point of the entire figure as she's literally not just leaning over, but on her tippy toes practically falling over to be able to show this off. Such a Roon power move. It's perfectly in line with the character and what she'd do to be able to get what she wants from her shikan, or captain for those of you that didn't know what shikan means. Her chest is exquisitely well sculpted. We have some awesome shading here. No highlights, but the shading is so well done. You'd think that there were highlights. I love that we have these sort of teeth-like buttons going along the side, and a lovely band that goes over the top to make this chest bag almost feel like it's a chest window. This ribbon at the top, Alice Glint, is the sort of thing that you should have put at the bottom on her corset. That way, you know, it would have just looked a lot nicer. Further pushing the fact that this isn't necessarily a bag, but a window, we go up into her collar, which is beautiful. Okay, here we go. It's spiky, it's sharp. We have some nice little line work along it, and some black line art texture in the fabric here. We have the beautiful kerfuffles and fluffs, darker gray on the outside with that lovely purple on the inside. A beautiful little Iron Blood cross with what I can only imagine is a miniature vial of blood. She's really hardcore in the video games. It wouldn't surprise me if that was like some sort of little vial of blood holding, well, I guess we all know whose blood, and it for sure would have been stolen in secret. Or maybe she would have dominated her way into getting it. I'm going off topic. Around her neck, she has a lovely choker. It's simple, thin, elegant. I like it. And it doesn't have the same type of belt and clip you'd usually see with these sort of things, but it really works for her. Her back is extremely well defined. I love this strong line that we have for her spine and also for her shoulder blades. The shading works beautifully at accentuating the parts that you want to see on her back. Her left shoulder looks cute and delicate, while her right shoulder really seems a lot more firm. I guess we know which arm would hold the whip. I really love her gloves. They are so cool. Starting off here, we got this lovely gray. The armband, it's just terrific. It's got a little bit of pearlization to it, some gloss. Really makes it pop out from the matte of the gray, where there's some lovely padding for her to do whatever she needs to do with those elbows and arms, I guess. We get this little black arrow on her forearm. It would have been nice to see this thing be as glossy as the black band that she has. I don't know why they didn't do it. Where then we get all these kerfuffles that go into her hands. You don't actually see her right hand that well, but it is in there under her hair, the whole thing. This is terrific. It wasn't like cut in half or this is what you see, so we didn't bother sculpting the rest. It's all there. On her left hand, we've got these excellent claws. Oh, they're so cool. They look like they're built into the actual glove, and I love that we get this little purple section off piece to make them really pop out. They're done in the same metallic color that we've got on her boots. They look really cool, and I like the concept that it's pushing into her skin on her left leg. However, after moving her arm around and trying to push it in, it doesn't look like it's going in completely. You may need to use like a heat gun or something, but looking at her with a microscope or depending on the angle, it's clearly not pushed up against it when you get her. I guess during the shipping, they don't want her to get all scratched up. Makes sense? And sense is something you can really only make sense of if you've been to the future and you spend some time there. What? Here you get a much better view of the kerfuffles that are all on her left wrist, and these should have had more detail to them. Why don't we have a lovely purple interior and darker exterior like literally everywhere else? I don't know. They definitely should have done it. The neck is a real issue for me because it looks like, how should I explain this? A tornado or a funnel? The neck starts off small from the collar and then it just gets bigger as it goes into the actual head. If you're looking at this character from directly underneath, it's weird, it's super off-putting, and it's a real disappointment. But from any other angle, she looks absolutely gorgeous. So just be sure not to put her high up on your shelf. You want her at eye level or a little bit under. You don't really see her ears all that well, but they are very well sculpted. As for her face, there are two of them if you got the Ami Ami exclusive, where one of them she's got a little triangular looking smile, and the second one she's got an open mouth smile with some blush. I think that's one of the leading reasons why I still ended up getting this figure, because I thought that face looked so cute. The blush is super cute, very anime illustration feeling. The eyes are nice. I like the eyelashes, and the fact that we get a minor semi-gloss for the eyeballs is cute. We get line work for her eyebrows where they're colored inside, which is very cartoonish as well. This is decals. The shape of the face itself is extremely sharp and very triangular, which works for Roon. Does it work for Roon Muse? I don't know. I think the eyes themselves should have been a little bit darker and had more of that sinking into the depths of the ocean, terrifying, dominating, always on top, sadistical, murdering. I think I've said enough. If Toy Story is to be believed, I don't want any of this stuff coming back to get me in the future. Roon is adorable, and we should all love her. Help me. Her hair is very large, wide. I almost feel like the face might be a little too small for the body because the hair looks so big. But every time I look at her, it does look right. So I don't know, I guess it's just an art style thing. The flow that we get from the hair is gorgeous, beautiful shading, no highlights whatsoever. That's okay. The sectioning off is all right. It is pretty noticeable, but you could just make the argument that that's the way her hair is being combed, so it kind of works. I love that we get the little purple ribbons that are attached here, and that red Iron Blood hair strand that we get looks fantastic. Her hair clips are beautiful horns. At least we got a bit of texture with these things. The kerfuffles we get at the bottom are matte, really nicely sculpted like everything on this figure, I guess with exception to the neck. There's these lovely Evangelion looking clips that we have that are a gloss black with a purple stripe down the center. And then we have a darker bolter gun metallic silver for the spike piece itself. They look like nice accessories. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. She then comes with this lovely microphone, and it is just gorgeous. Take a look at that beautiful glossy finish. I love how at the bottom there's a little cut-off area here that's kind of breaking the perfect circle, getting this beautiful purple line, where down at the bottom she actually has her name written there, knowing that this is hers, and if somebody takes what's hers, well, she'll most probably have to murder them. It's an absolute perfect height, reaching up exactly where you want it to. Then going into the microphone piece, it looks terrific, with beautiful metallic hatching for the center, this gorgeous little sun design along the outside, and then what appears to be a decal along the top that has an unneeded dark line going across it to give you the effect that it's shiny. But it was printed with a shiny material, so the lighting itself will give us this shading. However, it does look very anime. It might have been nice to add a little bit of highlights here as well, rather than just the dark line, so that it gives off more of an effect that that's what they wanted to do, and not perhaps that it's a mistake with the printing. Along the back of the centerpiece, we have a bunch of little technology doodads, and they just look terrific. Upon her release, she was going for 25,000 yen. That's quite a bit. If you opted to get the extra head and the Ami Ami special edition, it was an extra 500 yen, which is 100% worth it in my opinion, because I really like this extra face. That's what I wanted it for. However, the more calm face that she comes with is still very nice. That, for me, feels kind of expensive. I get that she's a 1-on-6 figure, but I think the jury's still out on that. I want to see some numbers, Alice Glint. I tried to look for the actual height of the character in the video game and I couldn't find it, but Roon is a pretty big, heavy ship girl. I'm fairly certain she's a tall one, especially when you compare her to a 1/7 Eugen. This is like the faces. Look at this. I don't think she ever should have broken the 20k price tag. It is extremely nice, but if they had just decided to put her at a 1/7, which I doubt would have been that much smaller, they could have maybe given us that nicer base and put some extra textures, gloss, pearlization, better threading, the works. If I compare her to other figures at this similar price point, or even cheaper like Ryohu over here, this figure is going to have a really hard time holding up. And if there's one excuse I'm not a fan of is this is a somewhat newer figure company, or they hired this new person to do this. I mean, you got given the opportunity to make an amazing figure. Where's her rigging? The rigging on this figure is so awesome. I want those giant boom boxes. You know what's crazy is that all this rigging on Eugen here, and she's 14,000 yen more expensive than this figure here. If this figure was 14,000 yen more, do you really think they would have put the rigging in? She'd probably be like a 60,000 yen figure at that point. I know it sounds like I'm really dunking on a lot of aspects to her, but I do really like her. I think this is a gorgeous figure. I just think that for the price, we should have gotten a lot more. So if you can manage to pick her up at a lower than MSRP price point, I would say that that's worth it. But if for some reason you're paying a premium on getting her, you definitely should go on the My Figure Collection webpage, look at many photos, check out other reviewers for sure and what they have to say about her, because I'm kind of torn, and you should probably get as many different opinions and point of views as possible before really pulling the trigger. Hopefully my video today helped you decide if you're still on the fence of getting her or not. And if you're a big fan of Azur Lane, who's your favorite Iron Blood ship? If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to click on the like, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell. It keeps my channel alive. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This can just be placed, like, anywhere. I remember right when I got it, my wife was like, so, like, right here, right? I think it's cute that this can be placed anywhere, but I feel like it should have probably had maybe, like, a little clip or, a magnet. That'd be cool, so it could just stay on there a little bit better. Why would I need to move this thing around? Why? I mean, it could just... Oh my gosh, it's like a heat wave in my country right now, and I'm going nuts. Why am I wearing a sweater? I am crazy. I guess I just really like this sweater. I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of feels like military a bit, and it works with the Azur Lane boat girls. This is nuts. I'm freaking dying in this thing. But I feel like that's the kind of punishment that I deserve. I was so harsh with you, Roon, and it hurts so much for me to be like this. Despite everything I said, I still care about you, baby. Please don't murder me in my sleep.